We're now turning our attention to boxing, an upcoming fight coming up on February the 19th, 2022. The long-awaited fight that's finally been organised, Amir Khan versus Kell Brook. So we've got Amir Khan's record 34-5-0. 4 of those 5 losses coming by knockout. Kell Brook 39-3-0. All 3 of his losses coming by knockout or stoppage. So the big fight's come along. It's taken way too long to come around. Should have been done about 5-6 years ago, but it's here now. I'd say both fighters are past their best. I don't think anyone would doubt that. If we look at their results, their best wins in recent history, if we look at Brook's record, we have to go back to 2018. You can talk about his win over Sergei Rabchenko 3 years ago. Frankie Gavin 2015, and obviously winning the world title away in America against Sean Porter in 2014. 7 odd years ago. Khan's last win in recent memories, last decent win, we've got Samuel Vargas in 2018, and then we've got Chris Algieri 2015, like 6 odd years ago. His last fight was in 2019, July 2019, against Billy Dibb, and he won that. But it's a while ago, isn't it? It's a couple of years ago. Obviously COVID's been on, so it's been difficult to organise fights, but whatever the reason is, that is a long time out, so that could be a factor. And then we've got Brook, who fought about a year ago, against a losing effort against Terence Crawford away in America, losing by stoppage. And that was a fight at the top level. Obviously it was for a world title, and Crawford dealt with him pretty easily, stopped him. It was a conclusive win. The manner of the defeat was a bit concerning, really, in terms of looking at Brook's prospects in this fight against Khan. But obviously Terence Crawford is a pound for pound great. He's going to be he's a Hall of Famer basically, and losing to him, there's no shame in that. But the way he lost, he was taking shots. Crawford was able to find him very easily. Brook was there holding his classic guard. He has a nice looking guard, which obviously shows the experience he has and the great training he's had in the Ingle gym over the years. But it was like he's taking guard, he looked the part, but then when he went to pull the trigger, nothing was happening. Obviously Crawford's footwork's very good and his defence is impeccable, but it didn't look like that was the issue. It looked like he wasn't letting his hands go. I think, to be honest, I've never really heard anyone else say that about Brook, but I've noticed in his career he's always known to be powerful. He's a very powerful fighter, but he hasn't always let his hands go as much as he could. He does have heavy hands, but sometimes you see him taking his guard, he looks like he's looking for an opening, and then he doesn't land as many shots as he's capable of. Against Khan it's going to be difficult, but Khan is quick. Khan's always been known for quick hands, quick combinations, quick footwork. Khan's assets are all to do with speed. On the other side of the coin with Khan, we know that over the years his chin has been questioned. His 4 losses going by knockout. If we look at his record, that famous loss against Bradis Prescott, Danny Garcia stopped him. Canelo, heavy knockout against Canelo. Obviously he was going up 2 weight classes there, Amir Khan, and we know how heavy-handed Canelo is, so no shame in that. I think he was dropped against Marcus Maidana as well. It wasn't a loss, he actually won that fight, but I think he was dropped in that one as well. And then he was beaten by Terence Crawford as well, which to me it didn't look like it looked like a quit basically. I think Brook has said that at the press conference. It looked like he didn't want any more. It's fair enough. Crawford is a very difficult man to come up against. Both fighters have lost to Terence Crawford. He's a formidable challenge, but it looked like he bailed out of that fight. But again, that was a stoppage. So it's simple, isn't it? You've got Brook's power and timing versus Khan's speed of hand and speed of footwork, but questionable chin. It's an interesting fight. I think certain people have been saying, I'm not interested in this fight, it's too late. Everyone's going to watch it. It's going to do good numbers on pay-per-view, whatever anybody says. It's going to come along in February and everyone will want to know what's going to prevail, Kell Brook's power or Amir Khan's speed. 2 big names in boxing, 2 big names in British boxing, and it's a British grudge match. In the press conference, Kell Brook made it clear that he's looking for the knockout. He let Amir Khan know. He was pretty raw in that press conference. He was angry, he was charged up, ready to go. Khan was a bit more trying to play at media savvy, trying to be a bit more smooth and measured about it, But Khan knows it's a tough fight. Brook knows it's a tough fight. It's going to be entertaining. I've looked at the odds. This channel, we always look for the betting value. That's what we're concerned with. And I was surprised. I've got to say, I was surprised by the odds. I thought it'd be very close, coin toss sort of thing. Just below evens either way, something like that. If we look at the odds, we've got Amir Khan 6-4. We've got the draw 20-1. And we've got Kell Brook as a favourite at 4-6. These are early betting odds. The fight's in February. We're only in beginning of December. But as soon as you look at those odds, you've got to look towards the Amir Khan there at 6-4 as the underdog. I don't think either of them, really should be 6-4. But if Brook's 4-6 and Khan 6-4, from a betting value point of view, if you're looking to pick a winner, going by the value, you'd have to go for Khan at 6-4. I just think there's too much gap between the two prices. Khan against Billy Dib, I've had a quick look at that fight. Obviously, Dib isn't high level performer, but Khan still looked quick. He still looked sharp. It is 2 years ago though, so we have to bear that in mind. There is a lottery aspect to this fight because they're been so inactive really. But particularly Khan. But he still looked quick, and hand speed still looked there. Obviously he's 35 now, mid-30s. He's going to slow down a bit, but people still credit with him with hand speed and foot speed, and I think he still has that. If he can get a lot of shots away at Brook and be pretty elusive, he's got a good chance of either overwhelming him, sort of rounds 6-9, and getting a stoppage, or winning on points. Brook's approach is come out the gates charging, try and stop Khan within the first 6 rounds, but Khan's fresh in the first 6 rounds, Again, I know it's looking back a few years, but against Canelo, Khan won the first 6 rounds basically. Outboxed him, quick feet, quick hands. It's not going to be easy to find him. He's going to be pretty elusive. He's going to try and play it smart. He knows Brook's going to come at him with intent. There's been fiery comments exchanged at the press conference. Brook has let Khan know he's coming for him. There's also that feeling that Brook needs to fight more than Khan. There's the feeling that Brook is in more need of a payday than Khan is. I don't know if that's fair. I think it's only a year ago he fought Crawford. It was on, from what the reports are, he was on $1.5 million basic, plus 40% of the pay-per-view, with Crawford getting 60% and about $3 million basic. So he must have picked up, $2.5 million. So I doubt he's, struggling around looking on the pavement for small change. But there is a narrative around that Brook wanted to fight a bit more. Khan didn't really need the fight. And that brings me on to probably the most important point of the fight, which could decide the outcome, and that's the weight. So obviously there's negotiations. This has been going on a long time. I notice Amir Khan's name is first on the billing, so that tells you something. It's Amir Khan versus Kell Brook without a title on the line, and Amir Khan's name first. So it looks like Amir Khan has probably asked to have his name, or demanded to have his name first on the billing. That's always a thing in these fights, and he's got that through. And it's at 147. Brook has been always drained at 147 for many years. His team always talked about him. Oh, he needs to fight at 154. He walks around at middleweight when he's not fighting is about 160 or more. And now he's got to cut himself down to 147. I think he'll be weak at the weight. I think he was weak against Crawford, and if you're walking around at a bigger weight, it's hard to cut down. Khan will be happy with it at welterweight. Anything over 147, you'd give the edge to Kell Brook. If they're fighting at 154, or they're not going to fight at 160, but if they're fighting at 154 or a catch weight, just above 147, that's an advantage to Brook. If it's down at 147, the lighter the weight, the more it suits Khan. It's going to help him stay quick. It's going to mean that Brook maybe isn't getting as many nutrients as he needs, seeing as he's the bigger man, when walking around at his normal weight. So I think 147, Khan's probably negotiated that as part of the deal, and that's going to suit him a lot more. So the fact is at 147, I lean to Khan. When I see odds of 6-4 for Khan as the outsider and Brook at 4-6, I've got to recommend that we look at the 6-4. I think it is a reasonable betting opportunity at that price where he's the outsider. So I'd go for Khan at 6-4. If I was going to look at method of victory, I'd look at Brook by stoppage. If he's able to get him out of there in the first 6 rounds. Khan, I'd say Khan on points. But I wouldn't rule out the stoppage either. But if I was going to bet method of victory with Khan, I'd go Khan points. But overall, I'd just say forget method of victory. At this stage, Khan at 6-4 would be my betting recommendation, going by the betting value. It's going to be a superb fight. It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be interesting. 2 legends of the game. finally lacing them up and getting it on. Please give your comments, let me know who you think will win and why. Enjoy the fight, and I'll see you next time.